Okay, so again, welcome everybody to this webinar on the seed grant. I will share my screen and I have a presentation. It's about 10 or 11 pages long. And when that is done, I will open the floor for questions or comments. So please either write in the chat or hold your questions till after the presentation. Okay, so this webinar will be about the seed grant, and here are some of the questions that I will address during the webinar. But in the beginning, it will be more of a general information about the seed grant scheme, and then we will move slowly into details on how you can apply and what you need to think about if you are a researcher looking for this kind of funding. And we will end by looking at very briefly at the documents and requirements for the seed grant. It will take about 15-20 minutes to go through this, and then we will answer questions. So the seed grant was initiated about a year ago, and it came from the steering committee of STARS EU when we were discussing how could we stimulate research collaboration among our 9 partner universities. Some benchmarking with at other university alliances came to the conclusion that a good way to do this is to stimulate by offering money. So we talked to the rectors and presidents in the STARS EU Commission and asked them for money to try this as a pilot project for 1 year. And during this year, the first year, the pilot version, we had 3 applications, which were sent in by, in some cases, more than 5 or 6 partner universities, but also smaller ones where 3 partner universities were in. But now we're moving into the second year, and we again have asked the presidents and rectors for funding, and they agreed to continue with the seed fund. So for another year, we have this opportunity to offer for research collaboration. And the most important thing to know that this is meant to fund collaboration activities to develop research, innovation, and collaboration projects. Of course, you all know about the EU Horizon Europe program, where you have the 3 pillars. Pillar 1, it's focused on excellent science. Pillar 2, they address the global challenges and the European industrial competitiveness. And in Pillar 3, they put the Innovative Europe program. So the seed grant can fund any projects within these pillars and clusters and opportunities. Some constraints, we will come to them, but basically, if it is a collaborative call, then we can use the seed grant to write the application. There is also the structural funds with the Interreg calls. Those are also open for seed grants application. And certain Erasmus Plus calls can also be funded. And the distinction here, we don't want to be too detailed on what can be funded or not. But if the application for the Erasmus is on central level, then it can be funded by the seed grant. So there's a distinction on Erasmus calls where you apply to your national agency, and some Erasmus calls you apply directly to the European Commission, and these are the ones that can be funded by the seed grant. So the requirements for this seed grant, well, it has to be, the application must be in line with the STARS EU strategy and priority areas. And I think you all seen these pictures. The priority areas are these three ones: green transition, digital transformation, and social values and well-being. And of course, our TIGs, the thematic interest groups, are connected to these three areas. But it basically covers almost all topical calls that are funded by the EU. So it shouldn't be too hard to be able to align it with this strategy and priority areas. You have to be at least 3 partners from the alliance. So it's not enough to have 2, you have to have 3 partners on board. If there are a large number of applications, the ones that have more than 3 partners will be prioritized, but as a general rule, 3 partners is enough. It has to be submitted at least 3 months before the deadline of submission of the planned Horizon call application. We all know that in order to write a good application, you need time. So if you are too close to the Horizon call application, we will not use the seed grant on that application. We think you need at least 3 months to write a good Horizon call application. So that is the deadline. And for most of the calls, you need external partners, not only university partners. There are some calls where you can be only universities, of course, but for many of them, the requirement is that you have external partners like companies or organizations. And in case there are external partners involved, they should be asked to contribute, but the funding can be used for travel expenses for key personnel at those external partners. This was something we learned from the first pilot version, that if you need companies to come and company people to come and be part of a writing session, it's rarely so that they have money to travel for this kind of work. So it's better that we offer them the possibility to join a writing session by using the seed grant for this. So a little bit about what kind of support, if you are a researcher thinking about this. What you are applying for when you apply for a seed grant is financial support. And the financial support is provided by each individual partner. It is the rector or the president who provides the money for the seed grant. In practice, this means that each university will finance the expenses of its participating researchers. If you look at the type of calls, you have some short abbreviations here. RIA stands for Research and Innovation Actions. IA stands for Innovation Actions, and Cofund. The seed grant amount per partner for this is 3,000 euros. For other types of calls, like collaboration and support action, the amount is 2,000 euros per partner. So when you look at the call text, you should always check what type of call is this. If all 9 partners are involved, the total amount of seed grant would be 27,000 euros, because all 9 partners provide 3,000 euros if it's a RIA, IA, or Cofund application. So that's the top number what you can receive. Since we are handling this at locally at each university, the process to receive this money could vary between the 9 universities. You have to check with your support structure, the funding expert, or people involved in STARS EU steering committee. They can tell you exactly how the process looks or works at your university. So what can you use the money for? Well, we have identified 2 major things. First, it could be costs related to the international consortium meetings or writing sessions, including travel expenses for external partners. Or 2, it could be used for external consultancy services, including writing the research proposal, getting an extra pair of eyes in the final stages of preparation of a funding application, proofreading of the proposal, or support to improve the visual quality of applications, such as design of tables and infographics. These are just suggestions. If you have other ideas, you are free to express that in the application. We will use the money for this. So, how to prepare a successful application? Well, you start by identifying an upcoming call with a deadline more than 3 months away. As I said, this could be Horizon call, but it could also be other types of calls. You secure your local support from your grants office, the funding expert at your grants office or equivalent, the STARS EU funding experts, or STARS EU involved colleagues like TIG leaders or people that are already involved in other types of STARS EU collaboration. Then you reach out to the researchers community through the channels that you can find. It could be through the funding expert group or through the TIGs. And you form a consortium. This is done before you apply for the seed. So you have a number of partners involved or number of partners that have the interest to be involved in the application. You prepare a short presentation about the upcoming call and your idea how to address this. And you have the meeting with the research consortium, and you decide on tasks, how you should best utilize the seed grant if it's awarded. And then you start writing the application and submit. So you need some time for this. Try not to be too close to the 3-month deadline, because it tends to get very short of time if you're too close to that. Then when you handed in the application, there is an evaluation process. The funding expert group in STARS EU are now heavily involved in this. The idea is that the evaluation process will take not more than 3 weeks. The first evaluation is done by the funding expert group, and they will provide comments to the applicants, how you can improve the application, or if they think it's a good application as it stands. And then the funding expert group will send a recommendation to the steering committee, whether they think this application should be funded or not. And the decision is made by the steering committee. So this process shouldn't take more than 3 weeks from your application. And here you have a list of the funding expert group at the university, at the STARS EU level right now. So each university has an appointed member, normally works at the grants office or equivalent, and most of us are funding and research advisors. So if you're from Germany, for example, you could talk to Marie about applying for the seat. She would know more. If we look very briefly at the application, it's not a very big application. It shouldn't be more than 3 pages long. You can find these documents on the starseu.org website. And you have some basic information: who's the contact person, how much seed grant you are applying for, which partners are involved, including name of the researchers. And you should also tell us a little bit about what is the name and what type of call are you using the seed grant for? What kind of horizon call are you using? Then you should write the project description, a short description of the project, including research area, project objectives, summary of work plan, and time frame. Then you should also write what activities should be covered by the seed grant, what are the planned activities like meetings, or should it be used for consultancy services, etc. You should explain a little bit on how the coordination of the project preparation is done. How is the work and responsibility divided between the applying STARS EUs and, if relevant, external partners. A short text about the relevance, how the aim of the project connects to the STARS EU strategy and priority areas, what is the relevance of each partner in the project. And then you write shortly also about the setup of the consortium, description of relevance of each partner in the project, and if there are external partners. And then a short text about track records of the project coordinator. Has the project coordinator been successful before, and so on. And this is just to show you how the form for the budget is again, this is also available on STARS EU website in the call text. Basically, you just write how much money you are applying from each partner and for what the money will be used. So not a very complicated application at all. Then, to summarize this, this is an open call for the full year, so there is no fixed deadline. You apply when you have a suitable call available. We try to keep the application process very flexible and agile, meaning that it shouldn't take more than 3 weeks from the date when you apply till you get an answer if you get the seed grant or not. And we are very keen on explaining about that support structures are available, like the funding expert groups, but also TIG leaders and other people involved. You can use them and ask any questions that you might have about this. The guideline and the application documents you can find on starcu.org under calls. You send in the application to a functional email address at Hanse, starcu@org.hanse.nl. And if you have any questions or comments, you can write to starcu@hv.se or reach out to your funding expert, of course. I think that was it. Yes. So that was what I had. Thank you for your attention. Let me see if I can stop share like that. Okay. So we are still recording, but are there any questions or anything I can explain further? Okay, I'm checking the chat function as well, but no questions. Just thank you so far. Okay, I will stop recording.